And Adam Sandler, all of his decisions finally catch up to him. I mean, you're essentially the whole movie. You're watching bullets racing at him from different directions,
Right, right.
and you're trying to figure out which is going to be the first bullet to catch him.
Sometimes I gotta go.
All right, let us talk about Uncut Gems.
Yeah.
Brett. So when did you originally watch it?
I watched it the day before it came out on Netflix. I actually paid for it, and then
and then it came out on Netflix.
Very next day. Next day.
So that was what, like last week?
Yeah, it was like last week.
Yeah, I watched it for the first time yesterday. I'm gonna be honest with you, I was avoiding watching it.
Yeah.
Because I hate watching stressful movies.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like no one would opt to watch a stressful movie. But I had two reactions to it. Because I had two different people tell me two different things. One person told me it was very stressful, and the other person said they didn't like it. They turned it off halfway.
Yeah.
And I didn't agree with either one of those. I didn't actually think it was that stressful. I was also drinking while I was watching it, so it's a little bit. So let's start. Do you think it was a good movie? Let's start there.
Yeah, I thought it was a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
It's not, again, it's like a movie that I was entertained watching it. Like, I don't think it's like a classic status where I'll I'll watch it again. Mm-hmm. But it was entertaining. Mm-hmm. The thing is, I think it's the ending that gets some people, because you're so invested and you want to see a win, and then all of a sudden that happens.
Yeah.
But to me, it was entertaining.
Yeah. What are some of your favorite aspects? I had a couple things that I picked out with how the movie was recorded. Was there anything that you were like, yo, I like how this is being done, or like, I like this?
Yeah, I mean, I think Adam Sandler did a good job acting. I think his acting was good. It was very, like, it was real. To me, it was real because it showed this guy like almost kind of like a sleazy businessman man type thing. Yeah. And it was so believable. Like just the way even the way his store looked like, and how like you could tell like all those people, all his employees, they paid cash.
Yeah. For
almost
sure.
Like, like at an employer that you used to work at, like type thing, where, I don't know how many, like, if they go through ADP for their checks, direct deposit. But
there's no portal to log into for that.
Yeah. So like to me that was I like the grunginess of it. I like Kevin Garnett, like just Garnett's piece in it. And it kind of put a glimpse into like kind of like that type of business. Because that's how them store. If you ever see like, it's not, I don't go to a lot of jewelry stores. I'm not a jewelry guy, but whenever I seen videos of like documentary type style things where you see these guys going to these jewelry stores, that's how they look like. I mean, not so much the security piece, but I haven't been to the New York district, but if you ever look at, some of the videos, what's it, Choke No Joke or whatever his name is, the guy who used to videotape like Rockefeller and follow Dame Dash. He goes into a store and he's like, yo, how come you have one of these pieces, Rockefeller piece, so it looks just like that. It's the dudes are just like that. So
and even like the guy now, every couple of years there's a new guy, there's a new jeweler in hip hop. The guy now is like an older Asian dude. Yeah. Who kind of like adopted the culture and tries to, be almost hip hop. It's like very, very like that. It's like almost disingenuous. It's like you're a salesman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
One of my favorite things about the movie, right? So well, first, I think I guess people are still surprised. I've weirdly followed Adam Sandler's career. So like I saw Spanglish. I saw Punch Drunk Love. I've seen him act. We know he can act. You know what I mean? I don't think that's really surprising. But so when I'm watching him in this movie, I'm kind of like, yeah, this is Adam Sandler's thing. You know what I mean? And the movie itself to me had some like reminded me a little bit of Punch Drunk Love because of like the music, the weird music that keeps playing throughout. That's like, I don't know what that music is. It's like that weird, eerie sound, that vibe that they keep playing. And then the color, like the weird colors in certain scenes, or even like there's a scene when they're doing The Weeknd and they do that thing where Lakeith Stanfield's hoodie is like popping mad orange, and in the background is all like dark or whatever. So I thought it was like, I found the filmography, I guess is what you would call that, like really interesting. The music, the filmography, I was like not ready for that. I was surprised by it. You know what I mean? I wasn't necessarily surprised by Adam Sandler's acting. He can act his ass off. We've seen him do it before. I like Lakeith Stanfield in the movie. Did you have any favorite characters, I guess? You're muted, by the way. You're muted.
I would say, I mean, I think his piece is good. I mean, Adam Sandler's. Lakeith is weird for me because, you know, one of the things I think that when I see, and maybe this is just like a minority type thing, like when I've seen Lakeith play so many different actors, like types, you know, getting away from the typical like kind of thug type dude. I think that was like a little jarring to me, you know, seeing him play like a thug, because it's one of those things where I think, you know, I think it's tough now just to like go into those type of, you know, for certain actors to go into that after they've done so many other things. Right? So that was a little tough, but he played it well. You know, I think, you know, kind of I mean, even the high-head Italian dude, like gangster. I mean, he was consistently high-headed. Like he you could see his anger and like hatred like was above anything. You know, it just like he couldn't. So, I mean, he did a good job. But I think Adam Sandler just like
takes the show.
Just like overall, I mean, it's him. You're following him the whole time.
Yeah, Lakeith, that's a good point. I don't really think about that with Lakeith. I mean, they're just gonna get a guy to do it, and I was just like, oh, Lakeith is a good actor, so why not get him? But that's a good point. And it's funny. What's also jarring is the last time I saw him was in what was the movie that we did with Daniel Craig, Knives Out.
Yeah,
where he's literally being like an investigator. What I will say though here is that what's a little bit different about this role is that you kind of find out as the movie goes on, because of their like weird relationship, that Adam Sandler's not in control of the relationship. You know what I mean? They play it as if Lakeith is like a hired thug almost for Adam Sandler, but by the end you realize that no, Adam Sandler is just not a trustworthy person to literally anybody in his life. And Lakeith is one of the ones who was like, man, I'm done with, like, get the fuck out of my face. You know what I mean? I was like surprised how early he's kind of done with him.
Yeah, 'cause the thing is, it's the relationship he has. Adam Sandler doesn't really have power. It's more Lakeith has the power, but Lakeith is using him as income.
Yeah,
almost like to a Treyway type of situation with Tekashi 6ix9ine, right? So it was kind of like he was the guy who could bring in the money, but we're kind of making it happen. So you kind of need him to make that money. So I feel like he was just like it's just like it's completely business, right? And it's just like you know he's not like the most like they don't really trust each other. And I feel like Lakeith, he's just looking out for himself, like and whatever happens. But that is a source of income, so you got to kind of keep that income going.
That's a good point. It's an equal trade. You know what I mean? Like it's an equal trade, and they're operating within that bind. Except Adam Sandler is really trying to always get one up on literally everybody, right? That's why Lakeith leaves. Cause like, yo, where the fuck are the watches and the papers for these watches? And obviously, Adam Sandler has done some backdoor bullshit that we don't see completely on camera. I was really impressed by who's the woman who plays Adam Sandler's wife, which her name is she's in Frozen, and she's gets famous because of
Manziel,
Dina Menzel, who was obviously gets famous because of Wicked. Can sing her fucking ass off. I mean, a voice of just an instrument of the heavens, essentially. But really, really impressed by her acting job in this movie. I thought she did like fucking fantastic. And their relation. I mean, everything about like. So okay. Before we get there, because I don't want. I'm gonna give it a second because every nitpick I have is about Adam Sandler's character, kind of. Not the way he acts it, but the character himself. So, is there anything else I can think of? I mean, yeah, the Italian dude. Oh, you know what was weird? What's up with those two twins? Like, we don't really see. Right? Am I missing something? They literally play no part in the movie. They're just constantly like badgering Adam Sandler, but they do nothing.
Oh yeah.
Those two twin guys, like, what are these guys here for? Like, that was like one of those things that's like when I think about the movie. So I did like the movie. Let me start there real quick.
Yeah.
I it's not as bad as people who I've heard it that don't like it. Is not as I don't think it's as bad as they think it is.
Yeah.
I didn't find it that stressful. My original thought of what this movie was, I thought it was going to be more like, what was the Jamie Foxx movie with, man, I had, my fucking memory sucks. Collateral.
Tom Cruise, Collateral.
Yeah, Collateral. I thought it was going to be more like Collateral, where it's a night in the life. And it's him trying to pull off this big-ass bet while trying to manage all of these things and juggle all of it. But really, it takes place over like 4 days, I guess. And so I don't find it as necessarily stressful, I think, as people. But I do think it's a tad too long. 2 hours and 10 minutes, something like that. I think it could have. Yeah, I think it could have been. I think it could have been like an hour 50. You know what I mean? You could have gotten rid of the play, right, when he gets stuff into the trunk. I don't think you necessarily needed that part. The weekend concert. Did you necessarily need the weekend concert?
Well, I mean, yeah, because that's where his girlfriend cheated on him. And that it's like everything's unraveling.
Yeah, but the girlfriend cheating on him plays no part by the end of the movie. It means nothing. Her moving out of the apartment means nothing. None of it. Yeah, none of that matters.
Yeah, but the thing is, it shows that he's like it's adding to the stress that you already know that he's going through. You know what I mean?
I feel like it could have. You know why? It's a little disingenuous because we already know that he was cheating on his wife with her.
Right. I
guess it's really just more building how this character is a piece of shit. You know what I mean? Because now he's mad at the woman who is cheating on him for.
And you know the thing is, I think with the twins, you said what is I think the twins look like a vulnerable, and he took advantage of vulnerable.
Okay.
So I think that's where you kind of see it. Like he's kind of like a scumbag type.
Yeah. That's fair. I think you could have wrapped it up. I don't think you needed. You know what? Because what's important to know is that it's two different bets in the movie. The first bet doesn't go through because Arno cancels it essentially, and then the second bet is the one he's relying on to maybe pay these people back, maybe not. We're not exactly sure. But to the characters, Lakeith is a great character. The father, I don't know that actor's name. He's just been in a bunch of things. The one that I can remember most is from Independence Day. He's Jeff Goldblum's father in Independence Day. I've just like him as an actor generally.
Oh yeah. He was in Taxi. And he was in the show Taxi. He was like
he's in the show Taxi.
Yeah.
And his girlfriend, I guess. I love her. She's fine as shit. That's aside the point. But I like that character. I've always loved that character, right? It reminds me of the same character from The Gentleman, where it's like this chick that's just like ride or die, and for whatever reason loves Adam Sandler. Like she legitimately loves the Adam Sandler.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's not like she's in it for money. She
loves him. Yeah. No, I think she does care for him because, you know, I think that's the part where I think he really loves her too.
Yeah.
So he does so much for her, so it's almost like probably, you know, fulfilling a role. Yeah. You know, like in a daddy type role, but also she's, you know.
Yeah. But she's a ride or die. You know what I mean? As we learn at the end, he goes, gives her the money, can trust her with this money. Meanwhile, she would never be able to trust him with that money, which is an important dichotomy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You literally, he gets the championship ring from Kevin Garnett and does something unthinkable. You know what I mean? Literally goes, pawns it for money to then make a bet. So yeah, you know, it's interesting. I do think it's a little bit too long, but the ending, and spoiler alert here if you haven't watched it, which did a good job not spoiling yet. I think that's fantastic. I think we're like 15 minutes in and we haven't spoiled it. That ending is shit because first, no, okay, they kill Adam Sandler first, and you're like, fuck. You know what I mean? I actually had to rewind it because I was paying attention, but I just wasn't completely focused. I was like, whoa, what the fuck? Yeah. You know what I mean? And it reminded me of a couple movies for different reasons. With this damn name, the name of this movie so long. The Brad Pitt movie, the Robert Redford, Jesse James. It's not Robert Ford. The Assassination of Jesse James by the coward Robert Ford, where when he kills Jesse James, it's so sudden, like you're not ready. I don't know if you saw that movie. It's just so sudden. You're like, oh, it's jarring. And then, have you seen Burn After Reading?
Yes.
Brad Pitt catches another L in that movie that is very jarring. He also dies there.
Yeah. Wait, and would you also equate? Also, like, kind of, what was it? Like The Departed.
Oh, that's a good one. Yeah. That's another good one. Yeah, when he kills, when they kill Matt Damon. Yeah, it's like, it's just so sudden. You're like, oh shit, you know what I mean? And you're there. It's Carlito's Way too, right? Very Carlito's Way.
Yeah. The
difference is Carlito's Way is Carlito's a good person. You know what I mean? Yeah. You're rooting for him because he's literally not a bad person.
Right.
You know, he did some questionable shit in his past, but you're like, yo, he can make it out. He can get it. Just got to get these things to go right, and he's home free.
Right.
And Adam Sandler, all of his decisions finally catch up to him. I mean, you're essentially the whole movie, you're watching bullets racing at him from different directions.
Right.
And you're trying to figure out which is going to be the first bullet to catch him. I actually thought the whole movie that it was going to be those twins. That's why I brought them up, because I really thought the twins were going to kill him. You know what I mean? Because of your point. It's the vulnerable guys. And then you find out that they're quiet, but they weren't to be fucked with the whole time.
Right.
What did you think about the end? I mean, that's the best scene, right?
Well, like the climax, like the like the whole thing. The thing is, like you knew something bad was gonna happen. Yeah. Like to me, when he did that, that was a point of no return.
Yeah.
Like I don't think what did he think was gonna happen?
Yeah.
Like he like almost kidnapped people who were gonna basically kill him anyway.
Yeah.
Like there's gonna he did that, and he thought that, because he won the money, he was going to get scot-free.
Yeah.
Like you just don't do that to them type of people.
Well, and important, too, this actually paints an important theme of the movie, which I didn't even write down a theme. But important theme of the movie is that, I guess, if you took a life lesson from it, right, it's when you think you have things under control, you're only in control of yourself. Right? You can't really control any situation. You can't control people, right? And you learn that with the Lakeith Stanfield's character. You learn that with his girlfriend. He thinks he can win his wife back. He can't. And then at the end, Arno, he's relying on Arno's patience and goodwill to keep him alive when he releases them.
Right.
It turns out that Arno can't even control these guys.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because Arno tries to stop him, and these guys are like,
I mean, no. Look at it. Look, I mean, you're correct, because look at just all of our situations in the past couple of months, right?
Literally,
you have the corona, and a lot of people couldn't follow directions, right? And so they were messing it up for everybody else,
correct?
Right, who are following directions, and then you get to this point, like, okay, then what's the point?
Yeah.
You know, but like that, I mean, just with all the looting, you know, and stuff like that. You know, there came a point where, hey, you can't control that, and
literally can't.
There's nothing you can really do.
Yeah, you're only in control of yourself, right?
Yeah.
And Adam Sandler, it turns out that the losers of this movie are the guys who couldn't control themselves, and that guy is Adam Sandler, the only guy.
Yeah.
Right. Adam Sandler essentially. I mean, he's just a piece of shit. Like, let's just be honest. He's a piece of shit. He pawns off KG's ring. Not quite sure how he gets the Knicks ring. But considering that NBA players are like notorious gamblers, maybe not too hard to figure out there. Michael Francesca is in this movie. Actually does a good job. Give him some credit. He actually does a good job acting. He's not bad in it at all.
And the thing is, I feel like it's almost like a sportsman's type of movie, like someone who appreciates sports.
Yeah.
It's good. It's good because it touches on like, you know,
Mhm.
it kind of has that underlying sports background.
Yeah.
Like especially New York type thing.
sure.
So the fact that they used him in there was good.
Yeah.
I appreciated that.
Yeah, no, it's again and again he does a good job. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like he really does do a good job. Um, he, that ending is jarring. They do such a good job, and then they do a fantastic job, right? Of
Right.
making you believe that his girlfriend is probably dead too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? When they walk out with the guy carrying the bags, and you're like, this motherfucker raped and killed this woman.
Yeah.
And thank God he just gives her the money. But I mean, what are her hopes, honestly? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? She's street smart. She shows that she's somewhat street smart. You know what I mean? She's
Yeah.
not dumb. But these dudes, we don't know how connected they are. So okay, the ending is fantastic. That's the best scene. I do like the weekend scene. It's a runner-up, even though I didn't see the point of it. I just love that weekend song. I forgot what that name is called. I looked it up yesterday because I forgot what it was called. And I think it's on House of Balloons, but I like that song. And, you know, that scene is just dope. Again, the way that they play Lakeith Stanfield's hoodie against the backdrop of everything is fire. It's just a fire-looking thing. Yeah, those are the best scenes. It's a shame that the Sixers have to suffer another loss in this movie. You know what I mean? It's like goddamn depressing. We can't fucking win in fiction either.
Yeah, I know.
So that's a shame. But and that fucking team, I remember. I could tell. I could recant that team. I don't want to make this a basketball podcast, but that series, for anyone who doesn't know, now this person's name is forgiven. We had a big man, a backup big man. Damn, this name is forgetting me, and I'm going to kill for people who listen to this. Who was defending KG well that series, who then ends up getting paid a lot of money by the Pacers the next season. He's out of the league a few years later. But anyway. We take an L. That's also the year, if I'm not mistaken, that Derrick Rose gets injured. That's why we're actually in that spot, because we play the Bulls. Game 1, we lose, and Derrick Rose blows his knee out on the last dunk.
Yeah.
And he's done for the series. We end up skating by winning that series, and then we face the Celtics there.
Oh, Spencer Hawes?
Not Spencer Hawes. No. Backup, big man, black dude. He's like 6'10". Just give me some of the names. Are you looking at the roster that year?
No, I'm not. I'm trying to remember.
Oh, no, it's like the 2000. I'll look it up later. Okay.
The reason why I was just trying to think about it was because they played that game. What was it, game 6 or 7?
Game 7. Well, game 7 is where it ends, yeah.
Yeah, where it ends with the Bulls.
Correct. No. They play. You mean us?
Yeah, no. Well, how many games did we go with the Bulls?
Oh,
or was it we swept them?
We go 5, I think, with the Bulls. We lose game 1, Derrick Rose gets injured, then we win the next 4.
Right. So the game 5 they played recently, they replayed.
Oh, they played.
And that's why I was trying to think of everyone who I saw.
Yeah, no. And Spencer Hawes is, I think, actually our starting center that year. It's man, I can't remember his name. He might even be from Temple.
I know
Lavoy Allen. That's it.
You're right. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah, Lavoy Allen.
Temple.
Yeah, Lavoy Allen. Who gets, because of that series against the Celtics, gets paid a lot of money by the Pacers, and again is out of the league shortly thereafter. Yeah.
And I remember just thinking, like, man, this team is not that good.
Trash.
I was looking, I was like, and I knew we lucked out because of Derrick Rose, but that was the difference. They had a star, we didn't.
Correct. We didn't even have a guy who could be the second best player, and I love Drew. Right. Drew is really, like, that's your third banana. I like him a lot, but he's your third banana on a championship team. And then we have fucking E.T., but we never really – the problem with that team – again, not to go too far off here, but I'm about to go a little bit off. The problem with that team is that Doug Collins didn't figure out – and I knew it at the time – he needed to move Drew off ball and have Evan Turner handling the ball, and he never figured that out.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway – So I mean, it's because to people who are watching that movie, they may think that was fiction. It's like, it's the way the Sixers are here. And it's like, no, you need context. This is how the Sixers got there. You know what I mean? It's an accident.
And did you hear that? I think, was it that they wanted Joel Embiid first?
Joel was supposed to be in the movie. He's supposed to be in the movie, and he for some reason can't make it.
He probably got hurt.
Maybe. You know what? I'm going to eat it. It's fine. And they flip it around to Kevin Garnett. It was still going to be the same situation. They were going to play it in the past. It wasn't going to be like current. You know what I mean? But whatever. They get Kevin Garnett. It works out better this way, I think. Because they're actually able to rely on real game footage, real numbers, and structure the bets according to the real stat lines. But the nitpicks, there is a nitpick on the bet we'll talk about in a second, which is only for people who bet.
Mm-hmm.
Other than that, yeah, so the ending is fantastic. I hope she makes it out with that money. Ultimately, nobody wins the movie. You know what I mean? The kids lose a father. Idina Menzel loses an ex-husband, whatever. She loses a boyfriend. And he dies. I mean, there was no up. There was no way at this point. Like you said, he crosses a boundary that cannot be uncrossed. And that dude has been really wanting to kill him the whole movie, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And maybe, he wanted to kill him the whole movie. And finally gets the opportunity and he does it. So let's talk about some nitpicks here real quick. First nitpick, I'll start little, which is the betting nitpick. No bookie would ever take a bet no bookie, if you bet, is going to take that you're taking a money line and you're taking the over for the team that's winning.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's essentially them betting against themselves. Like when you're doing a parlay, right, you're increasing the odds. You're increasing the odds to pay you out more. So if I do a parlay that says, okay, the money line is minus 125 and the over is 95 points. So I'm going to bet that they're going over 95 and I'm betting that they're winning the game. Well, if you're betting that they're winning the game, you're assuming they're going to score more than 95 in most cases, right? So no bookie would ever allow you to parlay those two things.
Mm-hmm.
They would allow you to make those as two separate bets, but they would never allow you to parlay that thing. And I've tried to make those bets in the past at multiple books. You can't. No book would accept that bet. You know what I mean? So that's just my nitpick on the bet. No bookie would actually accept that you're going to make that bet. My main nitpick is I find it unbelievable. Okay? And I didn't do any research on nitpicks. This is just like my only thing. I find it unbelievable that Adam Sandler had any chance to make it that far. You know what I mean? I just think that every single it's clear by this point in the movie. It's clear in the beginning of the movie. He's like very wanton with people, right? With people and their willingness to accept his excuses and bullshit.
Yeah.
And it just seems like this person would have been long dead before they even get to this movie. He doesn't have anything to offer people, really. You know what I mean? He doesn't offer anything. If he's been playing this like this for this long, it seems like he would have been long dead. My nitpick is that I think he should have died earlier almost. You know what I mean? I don't even think he should have made it that far.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I mean, it could be the thing is you have to remember, like, I feel like I feel like I've known people kind of like on that tip where he probably, like, sometimes it's just a slippery slope. You know what I mean? You get, like, he might have been just like a regular dude, and then all of a sudden life just starts going off the rails. Like, he was married, and then, like, there was probably a time where he was more straight, and then, like, once you start, it's all about when the gambling started. Yeah. You know what I mean? So when you start, because it's an addiction for a lot of people, and then that you get reckless, and you could see that his business was no longer a priority. Yeah. You feel me? So the thing is, I feel like in order to get to have that business, there was a point in his life where it was a priority, and then it just showed that, like, he really didn't have that much to offer anymore. You get me? Yeah. So he was like, the business was kind of just bringing a couple of ducats here and there, and then where he was making his real money was like betting and things like that. So I mean, there has to be, and he was betting some money too. Yeah. So it's just like one of these people, business people that kind of have these big windfalls, and then they have, they take a lot of L's and they just try to get back up. But I think there comes an ultimate point where it's like it's going to hit the fan, right? And that's, I think, bad gamblers. I mean, like, once you're addicted to gambling, like that's a problem because, that's what it is. It's gambling. It's not winning.
No, correct.
Too many things can happen, and you can just, it can hit the fan. Did you ever see? I actually just saw this. Molly's Game.
Man, that sounds familiar. I don't.
It's on Netflix.
Think I have.
I think it's on Netflix, but basically it follows. It's. I think it's based on a true story of this girl who was like an Olympic skier, and she ends up, getting hurt, and she becomes like an assistant for this guy who has like a game. And then she learns how to kind of run her own game with these guys who make, like high stakes games.
Yeah.
And like, there's a point where this guy, he just, you could tell like he will win here and there. Like, and then he was doing well. And then he lost it all. Yeah. He went through this within weeks, you know what I mean? And then he just lost everything.
Yeah.
And we're probably at that point with Adam Sandler's character where it's just like it hits the fan, and sometimes you're gonna make it out. And the thing is, he was risking everything, his relationships, all this stuff. It hits the fan, bro. Yeah,
and the thing is too. So another nitpick, I guess I would say, is we don't exactly know why he owes Arno money or what he owes him for.
Yeah.
We know he owes him a debt. We know he owes debts to a lot of people, apparently. We just don't exactly know what for. I guess you could guess if he's gambling, the guess is that he's been placing around town with people's money saying, this is like a guaranteed bet. This is the wash right here. I got you.
It's legit.
And if you give me this money, I'll go half with you. We'll split it. We'll split the winnings. They lose the money. Well, he doesn't have the money to back it. As this happens with gamblers. And what happens is they run their course with books. Eventually, books don't want them, so you start going to seedier and seedier bookmakers until you run into guys that are like, these guys are now going to kill you. You know what I mean? You run out of options. I don't know. It just seems like he probably should have died way earlier. But the story to me is based in I guess that's what movies are, though, right? Maybe I shouldn't be so nitpicky about it, that it's based in reality, but it's so fantastic too. You know what I mean? Like, this particular story seems so fantastic. But a fantastic ending. If you ride it out, it's fantastic. I think I see why people maybe don't like it. Again, I think it's a tick too long, and it just, like I said, it shoots off in a lot of directions. And I get what you're saying, because we're trying to show how he's suspending all of these relationships, right? This is how he's managing these relationships. They're all redlining. You know what I mean? Not one of these relationships is good. You know what I mean? His best relationship is with the female worker who talks the least in the movie, essentially. But outside of that, every single one of his relationships is bad. He meets Kevin Garnett, and within 4 days, that relationship has gone sour, essentially. He has pissed off his father-in-law, who I don't know how his father-in-law ever really trusts him, you know what I mean? And who essentially seems to be rich. So that's interesting, too, because now it brings up the question to me is, how do we think he made his money? Because not his father-in-law. How do we think Adam Sandler's character money? Because they have a nice house, they have a jewelry business, and he has an apartment in the city. This is New York. It's expensive. But
you see, this is what I think happens to guys like that, right? They have legit businesses, right? And he's Jewish, right? And that's just the jewelry business is big in the Jewish community, And so you have connections, across, in Israel, and they have connections everywhere. So I think this is kind of what happens, right? You work really hard, you become successful, and now you don't know how to act. Right? Because at first, when you're grinding, you don't have time to play. But once it's time to play, now that's where you see, like, I'm pretty sure there's someone that who, had a business, who you respected, and he just started doing some stuff and then became completely unreliable.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's all, and I don't even have to say the name.
No, I know you don't.
Right? And the thing is, and this was someone that you know, these are all people who you respected because you're like, oh man, that's a good businessman.
Yeah.
And then you start finding out stuff, you're like, and it's just as they became more successful, then you start playing, and then you start getting vices, right? And these things start, and I think that's kind of what, if I could guess, is he worked his butt off for a legit business, and then now that he has money, he starts playing around, and then things come with money, right? So I feel like it was just kind of like a that type of thing, because those are, you gotta remember, those communities are very kind of closed,
for sure.
So like they and it's also like kind of like a status thing. So like there was probably a point where he was like an upstanding type of person.
Yeah.
But then you get caught in those things. You find that you start doing stuff that you would have never thought you would have done. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, that's fair. I mean, so we're gonna say, I'm cool with settling there. I think I would have liked the movie to maybe have added that somehow, right? Like a brief moment that shows him being like an expert jeweler, right?
Right.
You know what I mean? Where he's like, I can eye this diamond and tell that is not worth that. If you put that under the lens, I promise you it's gonna. You know what I mean? Something like that shows he's an expert in this area, but it falls apart, right? To your point. Like I said, there are a lot of things I'm not a professional, right? Who the fuck am I? I don't know anything.
Yeah.
I just watched a lot of movies. And when I watch this, I just think about like there are missed, like a couple opportunities like that are missed. That's like we could just add a little layer here to give me something, because there's a lot of questions by the end, right? We don't know anything. We just know that this is a moment in time, but we don't know anything of how we really got here. You know what I mean? Why is everything redlining? Other than this guy's a piece of shit, why is everything redlining like this? Why is he so desperate? You know what I mean? It feels like if this bet doesn't go through, he's going to lose everything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But why is that, right? We know why, because he has these vices, but what's the specific one? How much does he owe Arno for what, right?
Yeah. And I
just
think,
to add context to it, you know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think also he hedged a lot of money for that opal, or what was that? That
it was an opal. Yeah, it was a black opal, I think he said.
Yeah. So he hedged a lot of money to get that, and then he come to find out that wasn't as valued as he thought he was going to get.
Yeah.
So he started putting bets on. He was gambling on things that probably you get masked. Things get like kind of lost in the sauce when you start kind of betting on yourself.
Yeah.
Like when you're in a desperate situation, you start valuing things more than they really are worth to other people.
Or you might see like with that black opal, right? Where you think you see a quick buck. You know what I mean? It turns out that you got scammed. You know what I mean? Because you're so desperate to get out of it, you think, well, this could be a quick way out of this, right? Turns out it's not. You know what I mean?
That's big, man. That's big. Because if that happens to a lot of people, man, you put so, like, it can't be a scam. It can't be a scam.
Yeah, there's no way. You need to work. You're just going to have to work out of this the long way. There's
exactly.
No other
you
way.
have to make it make sense to you.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure you don't watch this at all. But they have this show, is it 90 Day Fiance or whatever?
Oh, that's with the short
with him,
short meme dude,
Yeah, so there's a couple couples in that storyline. I haven't finished it. I just randomly see it. There's this guy who's clearly being taken advantage by a Russian company, dating company. Like, this woman supposedly has profiles all over the place. He has gone to her country and she has stood him up like 3 or 4 times, right? So people are like, it's a scam, it's a scam, it's a scam, it's a scam. He's had this relationship for 7 years.
Jesus.
Right? So you have to remember, he has to, if he can't prove that that's going to happen, he basically essentially lost 7 years. So you got to make it real.
Yeah.
Right? And I actually kind of talked to my wife about this. We were talking about how like certain people have like ideologies, like when you talk to people who don't understand kind of like the black lives or just racism in general and its role like in the country, some of it you have to remember that's either how they were raised, that's how they were taught, so they kind of have to crumble things that they put on pedestals, and that's hard.
Yeah, correct.
It's hard to break down that because that's where their identity is. So it might not, in their head, they might not think it's racist. But you're telling me, like, my country's great. Like, I'm so proud of my country. But you don't realize, like, that's not what a lot of other people can say. Even though they're a part of this country, you know, that's not what they say. And when you speak so badly about the country, you know, that's, you know, you kind of have to...
trigger for them,
It's a trigger, but, like, they need that to be true.
Correct.
Or they, you know, they're gonna feel it's gonna be hard for them because they're like, oh, I'm a piece of crap, you know. They'll take it personal.
Yeah, it's part. I said this to somebody recently that it's part of the human condition part of the human condition is to break down our pride to be able to say we're wrong about something.
Right.
And that's one of the problems here. That's why I as I said, like, we know somebody currently who keeps like nitpicking things to post on Facebook. And I always say, like, these are not good faith arguments.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because you can't explain away something like this in a meme. You know what I mean? You need to be able to reflect and be like, shit, I was wrong. And then all of a sudden you can open up to improving. But how did we get here? I'm sorry. Because
he had to, we were talking about how, like, Adam Sandler, he needed that opal.
Yes.
To be what it was valued, what he thought he could get out of it.
Yeah.
That he saw the value in it. He needed that to be right because he had invested so much. So I think he was taking a lot of money to make that purchase.
Yeah. Yeah. Or like, even
he didn't buy that money with his money.
Yeah.
He got that with someone else's money.
Yeah. Well, and even see, and I don't know. I think we're adding more value to the opal than it is, but I think the opal is really just an object for us to use to objectify his desperation, right? But in reality, I think maybe I would go as far as to say, to your point, right, about our ability to say we were wrong about something, to take an L. I think that's how this maybe does. If I had to add a backstory, the backstory is that he took an L that he wasn't willing to take, right? He had the money. Let's say it was a $50,000 loss, and he could have paid that, right? And he would have been hurting for a while. But instead of wanting to take that L, he went double or nothing because he couldn't say no.
Yeah.
Right? He couldn't take that L. He goes double or nothing. All of a sudden, this is spiraling out of control. So now he has this one lifetime bet that's going to get him $1.2 million if he can get there, right? And he don't get there. It's too late for him. Okay, yeah, I'm cool with that. What would you rate the movie out of 10?
I give the movie out of 10. I give it I would say a 7.
Yeah, I think 7 is good. I would even consider going 6. It's on the lower 7, I would say. It's not a 7-8. It's a 6-7. You know what I mean? Like a 6.7, right? Something like that.
Yeah. I mean, I guess I think I didn't like the ending.
Oh,
right?
Really? Okay.
So I didn't like the ending, just the abruptness of it.
Oh, okay.
I kind of wanted some more, maybe a little bit more closure. But I liked the ride. Mm-hmm. Like, I thought, it was a good, intense type of thing. I thought the acting was good. Mm-hmm. The cinematography was good.
Yeah.
Right. The different textures, the grunginess of New York.
Yeah.
The club, those type of, I enjoyed all that.
Yeah.
So it was, I appreciate it. It was like an above average. It's not a B movie. You could tell it's a clear class. It's that upper class type movie. So, I liked it. I liked it. It's just that it's not, when you get to 10, that almost has to be a classic, something that you would rewatch.
Very few 10s. There's very few 10s.
Yeah, like if I say a movie's a 10, it has to be something that I know a lot of people would like. Hey, that's incorrect because a lot of people like bad movies. right? But and you almost have to get like in that type, like in Avengers, right? And Avengers doesn't have to have the best acting.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like everyone.
Yeah, but I would never give that a 10 though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But Shawshank, right? That's a 10.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's something we need to talk about because we're getting to this generation, right, where I think there's movies that are being lost to a lot of people, young people who are now like adults.
Yeah.
Right? And because there's just so much new content that's accessible.
Yeah.
That they can't even look at. They're not even going to the old.
They don't take the time to watch, yeah.
There's just so much. There's too much content. You know, so like I had a coworker tell me, you know, like, oh, I've never seen it. I'm like, huh?
Yeah.
Like, it's a great movie, and that movie will always carry because it's a period.
Correct.
So it's not like it was like a 90s, you know, like movie that like now you see you're like, you know, that movie is about that time. Yeah. You know,
and as long as like there are criminal justice issues, it's always going to ring true, right? You know what I mean? Because of some of the things in that movie. Yeah. But then not that we could do a separate podcast on that. I would be completely down with.
Bucket list thing where they filmed that jail is in Mansfield, Ohio. That's like a neighboring city from, you know, when I go to visit the wife.
Oh,
so
okay.
I'm going. I want to go.
Hell yeah. Absolutely. That's a 10. That's a 10. This is not Shawshank Redemption. But it's enjoyable. Would you recommend people strongly to go watch it?
Yeah. Okay. I'll say watch it. You know, I mean, because with all the stuff that's out there, I think it's a good movie compared to all the other movies that I'm watching just because we got to stay in the house, right? I'm like, there's just so many movies out there, but there's a lot of crap content out there.
See, I would say like it's a movie I would recommend to people to go watch if they ask me for movie recommendations, right? Whereas like 1917. Right, where you would literally go on a post that is unrelated to anything about it. And like, have you seen 1917? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that is like the scale here, right? Where it's like, you should
become an evangelist for the movie.
You're exactly. You become an advocate for it. Whereas this movie, it'd be like, yo, any good movies? I'd be like, oh, have you seen Uncut Gems? It's tough. You will watch that.
Right.
But it would be on a list. It'd be like, have you seen 1917? Watch that. Have you seen? You know what I mean? Something like that. Okay. Yeah, I think that's good.
And sometimes I gotta. And sometimes I gotta.